Today, we want to visit Europe and get to know one of the most powerful countries that formed here. Yugoslavia, a Slavic word that means the land of the South Slavs. This country was made up of 6 different states, and they were under a federation. Bosnia-Herzegovina, Croatia, Macedonia, Montenegro, Serbia, and Slovenia. Even though they were all under one federation, but they always had problems with each other. They had problems in terms of religion, in terms of culture, and they were a bit racist towards each other. You could compare it to today's Afghanistan, where different ethnicities in this country have so much problems with each other, and that creates a ton of tensions. Until World War I, this area belonged to Ottoman Empire, but after World War I, when the Ottomans were defeated and it collapsed into pieces, Slav nations got together to create their own country, and they create a new country and they name it Kingdom of Yugoslavia. But in the middle of World War II, Yugoslavia joins the Eastern Bloc and it becomes a communist nation, and they change the flag and name to Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. The foundation of the country was strong, and then it becomes a communist country. When it becomes a communist nation, Josip Broz Tito becomes the Prime Minister of Yugoslavia. Tito, also known as Marshal Tito, ran this country pretty well. He tried to confront the people, where there was no problems in between the different states, and he kept the nation united. Tito was doing something right, because the economy was booming. And you could consider Yugoslavia at the time a superpower in terms of economy. Until the year 1980, Marshal Tito was the leader of the Yugoslavian people. And just like we said, he was successful in most terms. It's good to know right here, Marshal Tito deserves his own video. But in this video, we want to talk about the collapse of Yugoslavia, not Josip Tito. In the year 1980, when Tito dies at the age of 87, you could say Yugoslavia goes downhill from there. The economy starts to decline, the national debt starts to rise, and worst of all, the states start to have a lot of problems with each other. The Slovenians and Croatians would say the Serbs are lazy and don't do enough work, and they would say most of the power and money is in the Serbs' hands. The fire started, and the friendship between these states got worse and worse. Like for example, in the Croatian state, there were Serbs too. Oh, the other way around, there was Croatians in Serbia. The lines in between these states were all fake, because a nation that was formed with the same people wanted to be different from one another. After a while, 2 new fake states formed in this country. There was one in the north of Serbia by the name of Vojvodina, and south of Serbia, named Kosovo. In Kosovo, there was mainly Albanians, and 7% of the Yugoslavian population was Albanian. But the Serbians that had a new leader by the name Slobodan Milosevic, they started to have a protest that was anti-Albanian people. Instead of Milosevic telling the people to stop harassing each other, we're all one nation, he took the Serbian side, and by this, he added fuel to the fire. One of the southern states of Yugoslavia was Montenegro. After the problem where Serbians started to rise against the Kosovo, Montenegro took the side of Kosovo and told Serbia what they're doing is completely wrong. Croatia and Slovenia had always had problems with the Serbs, and after this happened, they went anti-Serbian as well, and they took sides with Kosovo and Montenegro. In the middle, there's Bosnia and Herzegovina, and he has a leader by the name of Raif Dizdarvic. He realizes that the country is taking a bad turn and everybody is against each other. It seems like he knew what was coming, because he would tell the states that what you're doing is wrong and you're going to lead us into a civil war. We are a federation, let's stay together. He also has a famous saying, and he said, "Our fathers died to create this great and powerful nation, but you guys are gonna kill our brotherhood for no reason. After what Dizdarovich told the people, some people came to their senses and they agreed with what he's saying. We shouldn't throw away a powerful nation we built. But the anti-Serbs did not turn off, and the enemies were rising day by day. When we get to 1990, Bosnia and Herzegovina joins the other side, and they become anti-Serbs. The Serbians say, let's be united once again. We'll create a 6-party system, and each party belongs to the different states, and we can all control the nation. We have to know that what the Serbians did at this point basically killed communism in Yugoslavia, and communism was completely deleted, but Yugoslavia is still united. 12% of the Croatian population were Serbians, and the Croatians were very racist towards them at that time. And the sad thing is, a lot of Serbians were attacked in Croatia just because they were Serbs. The Croatian state had a leader by the name of Franjo Tuđman. Even though he was a leader of a state that had Croatians and Serbians, he took the Croatian side, and he said what the Croatians are doing is not wrong. There's a city in Croatia by the name of Kin, and during Yugoslavia, the majority of this city was Serbians. And that's why Croatians took army helicopters to attack Kin so they can take control of the city. But the important part of the Yugoslavian army was in the Serbs' hands, and they warned the Croatians that if you attack our city, we will attack you. The Croatians retreated after hearing that, but tensions began to rise once again. And in the year 1991, the Yugoslavian Civil War had just began. When the Civil War begins in Yugoslavia, there is no hope between the nation, and they felt like everything was over. The biggest problem with the Serbians were the Croatians and Slovenians, and they took independence in the year 1991. But after this happened, nothing was official yet. After 3 months, Macedonia becomes independent as well. 1 year later, Bosnia and Herzegovina begins its independence as well. And from Yugoslavia, there's only 2 states left now. That's Serbia and Montenegro. The story we're telling you is a time where all these nations are having an issue with one another, and there is a civil war going on. And it's not as easy as what we're telling you guys. There was a war going on the entire time. Yugoslavia's name was alive until 2003, but the issues had not turned off yet. Until in 2003, it turns into Serbia and Montenegro. And in June of 2006, Montenegro officially leaves Serbia. And Kosovo tried to gain independence, but to this day, they're still not an independent nation. These fake borders basically create tension for no reason between them. And to this day, they still do not like one another, and there's still tension. Like there are Serbians in Croatia to this day. There are Croatians in Montenegro, and you can't separate them like that. Just like we said, these 6 states are not friendly with one another, even in terms of language. Like the Serbian language or the Croatian language are very much alike, and they have a little different accent. But the Croatians say this is Croatian, and the Serbs say this is Serbian, and they have a major issue between their language. The fight between them on the name of the language they speak has affected what the world calls it, and that is why the language is known as Serbo-Bosnia-Croatian. They name all 3 so nobody gets mad. A lot of experts want to see how Marshal Tito kept this country so well put together, and he ran it in a way where people didn't have problems with one another. But when Tito dies, the Serbs say we're the leader, Croatians say no, I'm the leader, and Bosnia say you guys are both wrong, I'm the leader. In conclusion, a powerful nation that had one of the best economies in that era, because the issue of the culture they had between one another, they began disagreeing and become divided, and they lost all the power they had.